Welcome to RetroLogic. I'm back. I'm Dan Caparello, and I'm so glad to not be on vacation anymore. Vacation's the worst, let me tell you. I can't podcast on vacation, so I'm glad to be back with you guys. And joining me today, as always, we've got our friend John Cummins.
Howdy.
We've got Sam Wagers.
Good to have you back, Dan.
And this week, thank you very much. And this week we have a very special guest, our friend Russell from Crossfire Faith and Gaming with us. How are you today, Russell?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me on.
Good, for sure, man. And we're going to talk with Russell today about Knights of the Old Republic and Nintendo Direct stuff and lots of other fun stuff happening on the show today. But first, RetroLogic isn't just a podcast, it's also a retro game store. You can visit retrologic.games to check out our growing inventory of cleaned, tested, and authentic retro games and merch. And lots of other housekeeping that we're going to get to really quick. We've got, so one of our good friends, Seth, Seth, we're really good friends, and I'm totally blanking on your last name right now, and I apologize. He's from the All In Nintendo podcast. He has another podcast called Keep Nintendo Weird, and if you're unaware, that's who he is. It's an awesome podcast where he talks about weird Nintendo games. He has people on that love those games and chat about it. I did an episode with him about Gotcha Force. So if you are asking yourself, what's Gotcha Force? Well, go find Keep Nintendo Weird and go listen to it. He is asking for community members who want to be part of this next episode to send in a brief 2-minute or less audio or video clip to the email address keepnintendoweird@gmail.com by October 3rd, saying who you are and your favorite thing about Plok. That's right, we are launching headfirst into Ploktober with a very special Keep Nintendo Weird episode. So make sure you send that email to keepnintendoweird@gmail.com. Send a video or an audio clip, and he will include it in the website if you get it to him before October 3rd. And be ready for lots more Plok content coming your way. Also, today, episode 51 of RetroLogic. This is our season 1 finale. And we are going to be making some little changes to the way that we do things around here. One of those things is in season 2, starting next week. We're going to be simplifying the podcast format. We're not going to have 15, 20 segments. It's going to be just a few small segments. We're going to have The Price is Retro, of course, still. We're going to keep Icebreaker. We're going to have a single show topic related to either a retro game or some news that week. And the Community Couch, which is going to be where we're going to hang out with the community and see what you guys are up to with the questions and all that. So we're keeping the important stuff, trimming the fat, and just kind of making things all around nice and tidy around the old RetroLogic microphones. We've got some new twists coming to The Price is Retro. We're going to add the ghost, who always guesses $300 no matter what. And if the ghost wins, we all lose, and we never record a podcast again. No, I'm just kidding. We've got the blog coming. Sam has been hard at work, and we're going to be launching that as part of our Season 2 launch. Patreon has launched. I've got a $1 tier up, and that gets you some exclusive video content. That gets you free wallpapers that I designed, and we will be launching other tiers later. But for now, get on in there, give me $1, and just support us. That's what that's all about. And we'll be having a Discord exclusive anniversary giveaway next week. So if you're in the Discord, you're in the right place. If you're not in the Discord, jump onto Twitter, go to @RetroLogicGames, go to my bio, click the Discord link, and join up the friendliest group of gamers on the internet.
Discordians.
What am I saying? I'm just talking too much. Also, Ploktober launches on October 1st. And we've have just all kinds of stuff happening across different creators. We've got the Nintendo Pals who are going to be doing some streaming. You've got, again, Keep Nintendo Weird from the All In Nintendo podcast doing a Plok episode. You can use the hashtag Ploktober on Twitter to share your favorite Plok moments, play through the game, see if you can beat it. It's really freaking hard. Sam, you beat it last time we did this, right?
I did.
You did.
It was the most excited I have been to beat a game since I was like 11.
Ridiculous. Incredible. And stay tuned for more Plok stuff on Twitter and on Discord all month long. I'll also be giving away a copy of Plok in the Discord, so make sure, again, join the Discord and you can win a copy of the game if you don't already own it. Oh gosh, okay. And our Retro Rewind game for October is not Plok, because since nobody can play that unless you own a copy, we're going to be playing Demon's Crest on the Nintendo Switch Online for our spooky October game. Wow, that's a lot of housekeeping. Thank you, Russell, for bearing with us on that. That was like half the podcast right there.
You're good.
So, all of those notes will be in Discord later if you missed them. And Icebreaker, let's chat about what we've been buying, what we've been playing. And Russell, since you're our guest, why don't you go first? What have you been playing this week? What did you buy this week? What's going on?
Oh man. It is fall, and that means a lot of new games on my side of things. Yes. So I did purchase Deathloop and Kena Bridge of Spirits for the PlayStation 5. And I've been playing Deathloop. Really fun, awesome kind of turn of events on the whole rogue type game in a 3D first-person shooter. I went back to Death Stranding because the director's cut came out. Absolutely love Death Stranding. And the game that is just kind of the perfect kind of chill game that I need sometimes. And then, of course, I did fire up KOTOR on my iPad to kind of get back in and get my feelings going back for that game. So I pretty much own KOTOR on every platform it's available, including Mac, because I played on that back in college when I found out it came out for that. So I pretty much own it on every platform that it's out on currently, and I will be buying it on Switch.
Excellent. Awesome, dude. Yeah, we can't wait to talk with KOTOR a little bit later with you. Now, Deathloop is a game that makes me regret not owning any current-gen consoles besides the Switch, because it looks amazing. That was like when they did the whole PS5 reveal trailer, that was a game that I was really into.
You just have to wait till it comes out. I mean, it's coming to
hopefully it comes to Stadia. Wait,
it's coming to Switch.
No, it's not.
Isn't it?
No.
I don't think so right now. I mean, because Bethesda's owned by Xbox now. So
yeah,
that
that's right. I'm thinking of a different game.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of...
My only hope is... Well, is it on Game Pass?
Not yet, but because it was with an agreement with Bethesda and PlayStation before they got bought to be an exclusive for PlayStation.
Got it.
So it's a timed exclusive on PlayStation, I think, for at least a year, and then it'll go Xbox eventually.
Okay. Game Pass looks like my best bet.
We're seeing more timed exclusives now.
Yeah, a lot more.
Kind of annoying.
Which, honestly, it means you can still get it on another platform. You just got to wait.
Yeah.
For sure.
Sorry, my mind went crazy. I was thinking of, isn't it Loop Hero? A little like 2D
loops in there. Yeah. Loops in the title, so.
I don't know what I was thinking, but
the movie
I think
Looper
that was the game
coming
that was
to
coming
Switch?
on my mind. Yeah.
Awesome.
Very similar gameplay.
Yeah, I imagine. All right, Sam, what did you buy? What did you play this week?
So I know we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Metal Walker for the Game Boy Color, a game I always wanted to try for a while. I kind of forgot about this, but I placed a bid on eBay and I was the only bidder. So I won like a week later and I was like, oh, I didn't even realize it until the package was at my door. But I'm like, yeah, I got Metal Walker for $35. Not bad.
Nice.
Wow.
Considering it seems to be going up.
I still have my copy that I bought brand new.
And I have also picked up from the recent announcements the ActRaiser remake on Switch and the Castlevania Advance Collection.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm waiting on a sale for the Advance Collection, but that's certainly coming my way.
Yeah, it's only $20 though. And after having already bought ActRaiser, I was like, man, this is just a steal. Like most of those games are pretty pricey if you want the original.
Yeah, big time.
It's like, yeah, I don't even need a sale. $20 is great. I'll pay full price for that.
I mean, I got a great deal on Ario Sorrows, and it was $35, which is $15 more than you just bought for the whole collection.
Yeah.
Crazy.
As far as stuff I've been playing, I played through Contra for the first time. At least I played the arcade version back when I bought the collection, but this is the first time playing the NES version. And I also played through Super C.
Are you playing those on the Switch collection?
On the the Contra collection on Switch. So I've had that for a while, and I've just kind of put off playing it. But it's like one of those NES games everybody loves a ton, so I'm like, I should really just play through. So yeah, I actually really liked Super C. I don't know why people don't talk about it more. I guess just because it came second. Super C is awesome.
How is ActRaiser Renaissance?
I played through the first area, and it's a lot of fun. And there is new content there.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
A part of me was like, I don't know. I expected this to be like my new favorite game ever, just because I love kind of genre mashups. I just like the whole idea of it. I just like it. It's just good. And that's fine. Like, that's great. I like it a lot. I just don't, it's not my new favorite game ever.
It's not Terranigma.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know how to think about it yet, I guess.
There's just a lot happening right now. So it's like, it's kind of a shame that it shadow dropped, because it's like, oh, and Castlevania Advance, and like N64 games, and like everything happening, and Metroid, like all this stuff in October. And also, sorry, ActRaiser, you kind of got buried, because I'm excited for it too, but it's certainly not like top of my list right now.
Yep. And I'm also still trying to finish Terranigma. So Terranigma, ActRaiser, lots of quintet love there.
Yeah. Good deal. Rush Armor and Monster Hunter, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So Monster Hunter Rise added a event quest where you fight a Zenogre in an arena, and you get some dog bolts, which is a material you can use to craft a layered armor for your Palamute, your dog companion, that makes him look like Rush from Mega Man. So I had to do that. So that finally got me to play Monster Hunter again for the first time in a couple months.
All you ever wanted.
I'm a little rusty, but it came back pretty fast. I was just using the lance, which is probably the weapon I've used the most.
Rad.
I haven't forgotten everything yet.
Good. All right, thanks, Sam. John, what about you, dude?
To start with, I picked up Dark Stalkers for the PSP, which is the... it's just a PSP port of the original game. A few updates. I actually haven't got to play it yet. I've been wanting to, and just haven't had time. Like, I went to put it in my PSP and it was dead. I hadn't played it in a little while, so I've got to try. Every time I get one, I have to charge that thing.
Does that have the multiple versions of it on there, or is that just the okay?
No, it's got multiple versions of it. I can't remember exactly which ones are on there. It's been a while since I've looked at it, but I know it has the original game. It might even be like all three of them on there. I'm not sure.
There's the original Night Warriors, and then I think it's just called Darkstalkers 3.
Yeah. And then picked up Crimson Skies for the Xbox. Figured Dan would like that.
I still got to get one for myself, but yeah, I love Crimson Skies.
Yeah, I have the not for resale, which is not worth maybe $2 more than the other one.
Yeah, it's not exactly an expensive game. Russell, you're shaking your head. Are you a Crimson Skies fan?
Yeah, I still have my original copy when I first got my Xbox. First games I went out and got was Crimson Skies, KOTOR 1 and 2, and those were and Jade Empire at the time. So
yeah, Jade Empire.
That was my Xbox.
So this is one I picked up. Ed and Eddie for the GameCube. I don't know if you remember this cartoon show from Cartoon Network.
I'll never forget Ed and Eddie.
Never.
Yeah, it was R.I.P. It was really good. I don't know how it holds up today. I haven't tried to watch it in a while, but when I was a kid, it was a blast.
Some of the best gross out humor on cartoon. Like, yeah,
it holds up.
Yeah,
most of those cartoons from Cartoon Network hold up.
So, my local has the smallest GameCube section imaginable. It has like usually a couple sports games and like a random thing thrown in there. So I'll go in there and check their weekly, like after I get off work one day. So basically, it's just to see what random GameCube game pops in. They usually get like one random game a week, and this week it was Ed and Eddie, which I didn't even know existed. And they had like $10 on it, and it turns out it's like a $30 GameCube game. So I was like, for $10, I'll try it out.
I mean, these
Eventually.
days, anything that's not a sports game for GameCube is $30 GameCube game.
Well, yeah, that's what I was like. For $10, if I find any GameCube games for $10, I almost buy them just to see what they're about. Because it's one of the generations of consoles that I didn't play a whole lot of games on. So just kind of getting there with my collection. And then I also picked up a Game Boy game called Fighting Simulator 2-in-1 Flying Warriors, which was just a really random Game Boy game that I've never seen before. And it was like $5, so I picked it up to try it out. And it reminds me of like Kung Fu, or even almost like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the Game Boy, like the side-scrolling, really slow. Like the one-on-one combat, the enemy will have like a little circle that flashes in certain spots, and you have to try to kick. You only kick, so you have to try to kick in that direction that the little flash happens.
Well, why is it a 2-in-1?
It has 2 games on it, and I could figure out how to switch between the two. So I was just playing Fighting Simulator, and that was it. I don't know if you have to unlock the other one, and it's like really small on the very bottom corner of the cartridge that even says 2-in-1. Fighting Simulator is like all the way across the top, really big.
That's
and then
funny.
on the very bottom, it's like the size of like an ESRB label on a game in the bottom corner of the cart. 2-in-1.
That's gonna have to be a Google or something to look that up.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, you'll have to check it out. I never heard of it, and I get sucked in. If it's something I've never heard of and it's really obscure, I just pick it up anyway, just because it's interesting to me. But that's all the older stuff that I bought, and I went ahead and picked up the collection of Saga on the Switch because it finally came down to like $15, which I probably, paying full price is a good deal because all those games are pretty outrageous right now on Game Boy.
Yeah, it's a good collection.
Yeah. And I finally got WarioWare Get It Together. Found a copy at Walmart, just randomly shopping around. I played through the demo, but I hadn't got a chance to play the game yet. I'm wanting to play with my son, co-op. That's one I plan on trying if I find some time this week to try to get in and play with him. And that's pretty much what I picked up. The only thing I've had time to play today, when I got home, I had like a free hour before my kids got off the bus. I got home a little earlier today, and I downloaded the Voice of Cards demo for the Switch, and I played for like an hour.
Is that the Square Enix?
I'm enjoying it.
Card-based RPG? Like everything is a card?
Yeah, it's the game that Marty completely trashed on the Nintendo dads.
as he does.
So he's like, I don't know who would be interested in this game. And I was like, while I'm listening to the podcast, I'm like raising my hand. I'm like, yeah, this is mine. I'm going to play this game.
Yeah, it looks cool. I like the concept. I'm totally down to try it.
It's neat, but I mean, I'm playing the demo. It's all tutorial stuff. So I haven't come across a single card battle that's like, you could pretty much win any card battle with any move that you pick at this point. I'm waiting for it to get more interesting. And
so is it like
have some more strategy?
Is the battle system like actually card based, or is it more just like a turn based RPG, but you just happen to be a card?
It's card based.
Okay.
Your attacks are cards.
Like you have a deck and you draw cards.
You have, it's kind of hard to explain. They have attack cards, and then they have like item cards. Basically, it's more like a board game than like a trading card battle game.
Okay.
So in reality, it plays more like an RPG with your cards being your move selection.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was expecting more to be procedurally generated, since it is supposed to be cards. I expected everything was getting shuffled around, but it actually seems pretty static, at least.
Yeah, that's actually a little disappointing that it's not. I mean, much to the chagrin of Marty, that it's not more of a card-based game, and it's kind of just
the
like
encounters
the aesthetic
are random,
is cards,
but I mean that's like any RPG,
right? Exactly.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if
a monster attacks you.
I'm kind of wondering if there will be more past the demo.
Okay,
that's more random, because you do make choices, and I have to imagine that the choices you make have to alter the game in some form over time. But so far, it's nothing groundbreaking, but it's enough to keep me interested. Like the game aesthetic is really nice. Like I like the cards, and the artwork's really nice. So,
do we have a price on that
it's
one
relaxing.
yet?
I don't know if they mentioned a price.
I don't remember. I want to say 40, but I think that included the DLC.
30 on Steam. So I don't know.
Kind of curious.
It's not 60
get a physical release or not, but that would be kind of cool. Get the cards.
Yeah, I don't see
physical release that just
30.
gives you,
it's 30
2,000 deck of cards.
Right.
Yeah.
It's 30.
So you can play it on your table.
It's 30 on the eShop. It's 30 on the eShop, so now we know.
I will say that I hope that whenever they get to release it, it runs a little bit smoother, because I did notice like some hiccup whenever it's flipping the cards. It's like trying to flip all the cards at once as you're going across, like to tell the story, and it's like like laying them down. I was like, this should not be struggling. It's a card game. Like, no real animation other than flipping the cards.
Poor Switch.
Yeah, it could be my Switch. I don't know. I'm still using my original Switch.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, are you getting an OLED?
Dude, I have a new Switch, and I don't want to move all my stuff over. I have over 300 games or something on there.
Fine.
Over. I bought the Mario one, but I'm too lazy to move my stuff over, so I'm still playing my day one Switch.
All right. Okay, so what did Dan buy? What did Dan play? I got everything that I ordered over the past month came in while I was on vacation. So when I got home, had a nice little Christmas for myself. But while I was on vacation, I went to there's like a little tiny little like comic book game store thing. It's like tiny. It's in like a back alley. And so I go there because like that's the only place where you buy retro games on the entirety of Cape Cod. And they had GoldenEye, and I was like, well, I just gave Russell my copy of GoldenEye, so I'll rebuy that.
Yes, thank you for that.
Heck yeah, dude. You won it fair and square. And then we've got Game Boy Wars and Yoshi Topsy Turvy, both Japanese Game Boy games. Topsy Turvy is a Game Boy Advance game. Those came in, and they're beautiful. They're amazing. I cannot wait to pop in Game Boy Wars and see how that is. I'm gotta find a way to stream it. I don't think I have a way to throw Game Boy games on the TV right now.
You don't have a Game Boy player?
No, I have the player. I don't have a disc. I might just do the hack for the disc instead of buying the disc.
You have a Super Game Boy and a way to stream Super Nintendo?
I will probably end up just getting a Super Game Boy. Although, will that play Japanese? Yeah. Game Boy's not region locked.
Oh, that's a good question.
I'm sure it'll play. I need a Super Game Boy anyway, so maybe I'll just pick that up to do it. And then Yoshi Topsy Turvy.
Game Boy operator.
Yoshi Topsy Turvy. Since I had like a spell where I was obsessed with games that use gyro. So Yoshi Topsy Turvy, Japanese. I got it complete in box for the price of a loose copy, and I figured there's not a lot of text in a Yoshi game because all he goes is "blah," So.
Spell that out in Japanese.
Yeah, we had a run in the Discord on Mischief Makers recently, so I picked that up. Me and Seth each bought our copies back to back because we were talking about it. Someone bought one. Was it Eric who bought one? And then I don't know. Anyway, so
I think
got that.
Have you played it before?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
This is one of my favorites on the N64. I hope that it comes to the service, but probably won't. It's too obscure. I don't know who holds the rights. It's like one of those weird games where it's like, who even owns this thing? It might just be Nintendo, but like,
I thought Mischief Makers was Natsume
or Atlas or something like that. I think it's Atlas actually.
Or is it? It's not Konami, is it?
All right, Sam's looking it up. My copy of Roger the Sky Soldier came in, which like everybody in the Discord bought one because Natsume was having a sale on them. Sega Superstars Tennis / Xbox Live Arcade combo for the Xbox 360, and which I got from a community member. Thank you, Zach. And yeah, my copy of WarioWare Get It Together, which I bought on vacation and played the crap out of and love, and Cruise and Blast, which I have not played yet, but I'm very excited to play. As far as what I played on vacation, really it was mostly WarioWare Get It Together, but I found myself, so 2 years ago when we went on vacation, this game came out from Double Fine called Rad. And I don't know if Russell, if you're familiar with this game. It's kind of like it's a top-down 3D roguelike where it's Double Fine, so everything's crazy. It's like a post-apocalyptic world, and all your upgrades are like mutations. It's all comic book looking and cool. It's a great game. It's super fun. And I played the crap out of it 2 years ago on vacation. And so this year for some reason, I was like, man, like I'm on vacation on Cape Cod. I want to play Rad. Like I had that feeling of like, man, I'm like nostalgic for a game I played 2 years ago. So I was firing that up more than I was the WarioWare, which is funny. Just a fantastic game. It always goes on sale on the Switch, and I highly recommend everybody picking it up if you're a fan of Double Fine and their work. They're awesome. The Psychonauts 2 just dropped, so they're kind of in the zeitgeist right now, but that's another great game of theirs that I recommend. Namco published, which is weird, but that's what I bought and played. You guys want to play some Prices Retro? Thanks to community member Flightsy, we now have a working database of all of our Prices Retro games. Well, we're working on getting all of them. He's slowly adding them as he gets through it. Currently a work in progress. Tons of great info in there, like highest score, worst score, cheapest game, best worst score. All kinds of crazy stuff in there. Really fun little wiki to look at if you've been following along. That is in the Prices Retro channel in our Discord. Go check that out. So, if this is your first time playing Prices Retro, here's how we play. I'm going to list off 4 or 5 games. You're going to guess how much the games in total are worth, and whoever of all of us is the closest to guessing the actual price wins that lot. Everybody makes a list, and everybody guesses everybody else's lists. And this week we have Russ as our guest. We have Trash Turkey from our Discord gave us a list, and Flightsy gave us a list. So John, you've got your work cut out for you today with that spreadsheet. Good luck keeping all of us in track. Sam, why don't you go first this time?
All right, let's just jump right into it since we got 6 whole lists to get through.
Get through it.
I've got ActRaiser 2 for the Super Nintendo. Loose.
Oh my. Loose?
Yes, Loose. Grandstream Saga for the PlayStation. Complete.
Can I get a genre on that?
RPG.
Ooh. Don't know if I know.
Mystic Heroes for the GameCube. Complete. And Inuyasha Secret of the Cursed Mask for the PlayStation 2. Complete.
Can I get a genre on that?
Also an RPG.
Okay.
Good old Inuyasha series.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll go first. $300 even.
All right.
The classic guess.
The classic. We're going to have the Ghost on next week. The Ghost is going to guess 300 on every time. John, what's your guess?
I'm going to say 200.
All right. And Russ, what do you got for me?
I'm going to say 181.
Ooh.
Just going to throw out a random somewhere in there.
Lowballing.
Yeah.
He's actually the closest. You're all over. The total is 125.29.
What was mainstream Saga the most expensive?
ActRaiser 2 is the most expensive.
ActRaiser, yeah.
There's no way.
$40.
No freaking way.
Grand Stream Saga is $27.80. Mystic Heroes is $24.96, and Inuyasha Secret of the Cursed Mask is $32.53.
Ooh, I got close on a couple of those. Yeah.
I just bought Mystic Heroes on GameCube not too long ago, like a few months ago.
Well, I knew the price, but I thought it would have gone up, but apparently it did not.
So the theme here is actually these are all games that Quintet did development or development support on.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
So some of those co-developed. Mystic Heroes with Koei, Grand Stream Saga with somebody else.
Right on, right on. Okay.
Enix.
Good.
Enix would make sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'm going to go next. I've got no theme, just lots of games that I'd like to talk about. We've got Earthworm Jim 3D for the N64, loose. Boogerman, a pick and flick adventure for the Super Nintendo, complete in box. Frogger 2, Swampy's Revenge for the PlayStation, complete in box. And Bonk 2, Bonk's Revenge for the TurboGrafx 16, complete in box.
Ooh. Good night.
John, you're going to guess first.
Let's $600.
Okay. Russell, what's your guess?
Yes, 400.
$480.
And Sam says 480. All right. Actual retail price is $315.76. Yow. Earthworm Jim 3D goes for $69. Boogerman goes for $161 complete in box. Frogger 2 goes for $9. And Bonk 2 goes for $75 complete in box.
Man, I thought Bonk 2 was more than that.
Yeah, same here.
That's what I was banking on.
So did
I thought it would be that much loose.
Yeah, I thought it was way more than that. Well, I was surprised when I
Earthworm Jim
looked
and
it up.
Frogger.
Yeah.
I got those dead on almost by $1 off.
Nice.
On what I was thinking they were worth. So
Yeah, Earthworm Jim.
Frogger too.
Earthworm Jim I was trying to get before everything shot up, and now I'm just kind of, I'm never going to own it now. It's not a good game. Not a good video game.
No.
So, no. All right. Russell, do you want to go?
Yeah, I can go. So these are some, I'm a big PlayStation guy, so these are some
Let's do it.
my classic PlayStation games that I love. Lord of the Rings 2 Towers, complete in box, PS2. Gex, PS1. Simpsons Hit and Run, PS2, complete in box. All these are complete in box. Siphon Filter, PS1. And then Jersey Devil on PS1.
Jersey Devil.
Man, I haven't heard of Jersey Devil in a long time.
I know.
That's an obscure one there.
Yeah.
Okay. Sam, you're going to guess first.
Oh gosh. 175.
All right. I'm going to guess 120.
Yeah, I was thinking 125.
Okay. The total is 145.71.
Ooh, John took that one.
Yep.
Yeah. So Lord of the Rings, $28.28 complete in box. Gex is $28.28. Simpsons Hit and Run, $35. Siphon Filter, $14.29. And then this is the shocking one that surprised me. Jersey Devil, $61.50.
Man.
I was shocked when I pulled that up. I did not think it was worth that much.
That was a rough one.
PlayStation 1 games have hit that point where like a lot of them have jumped up quite a bit if you're complete still. PS2 still in that cheap area.
I'm going to have to start loading up even more on my shelf that I have.
Yeah, PS1 right now is all over the place. All right, John, your turn, bud.
All right, I have a theme, but it's probably going to be weird. But Darkstalkers for our Night Warrior for PS1 complete. Techromancer for the Dreamcast complete. Star Gladiator for the PS1 complete.
What's the genre on Star Glider?
Star Gladiator. It's a fighting game.
Star Gladiator. Okay.
Yes, Gladiator.
I feel like we had that
Plasma
one.
Sword. Yeah, could have. I'm not sure. Last game is Plasma Sword for the Dreamcast complete. Oh.
Okay. All right. So, Russell, you're going to guess first this time.
I'll go 350.
Sam, go ahead.
All right.
300.
I've got 470.
Oh.
So,
All right.
I think Techromancer is worth more than you think it is.
The total for this lot is $419.
That's right, boy. This is Dreamcast games.
Yeah.
These are all fighting games that the character designs are Akira Yasuda.
Oh. Yeah, right on.
Got some Street Fighter would have been the obvious one, but I was trying to find some more obscure stuff.
I can see that, though. That's
His
cool.
artwork's really cool, though.
Yeah.
But Darkstalkers for the PS1 complete is $104 right now. Techromancer for the Dreamcast complete's $191. Star Gladiator for the PS1 complete's $48. And Plasma Sword for the Dreamcast complete is $76.
If somebody says Dreamcast or Saturn on this game, then it's almost always like a $200 game. It's the running gag. Oh man. Okay, we've got a couple of guest lists. We're gonna start with Trash Turkey. I keep wanting to saying Trash Talkie, but that's not his name. His name is Trash Turkey. Let me see if I can pull him up here really quick. There he is. All right. So here is our list. Adventures of Bayou Billy for the NES. Complete. Final Fight Guy for the SNES. Loose. Final Fight Guy. Okay. Castlevania Symphony of the Night, PS1, loose. Okay, loose. Remember that one's loose.
Loose.
That's an oddball. And final game we have Little Big Planet 2 Collector's Edition for the PS3, complete. What do we got? Okay, my guess is 210. John, what you got?
Let's see.
I'm going to go through them again.
I'm going to say 230.
Russell, what you got?
275.
Okay. And Sam?
370.
All right. Actual retail price is $662. Where did we go wrong?
Probably the collector's edition.
Okay. Adventures of Bayou Billy.
Good number of those PS3 collector's editions can be
crazy, man.
Very expensive now.
Bayou Billy complete is $23. Final Fight Guy loose is $500.
I thought that one had gone down.
Hold up.
I did too.
Hold up.
That's one that's infamous because it was a rental only.
Yep.
We're gonna fact check this guy right here.
But I think people started to realize there are way more of them out there.
No, $500, $535 right here. Now, if you buy it on the Super Famicom, it's $35. So I recommend doing that if you really want to play Final Fight Guy. That's insane. I didn't know that. Symphony of the Night is $70 loose, which I was dead on. And then a little bit Planet 2 is 37.
Okay, that one's
Final
not bad.
Fight guy.
Final Fight's what threw me off. I had the other ones almost spot on.
All right. Okay, so here's the theme for this list. Ready? Games with turkey health pickups or turkey costumes. That's clever. Thank you,
Great
Trash
game.
Turkey. That was excellent. Man, that one really threw me off. Okay, one more list we've got from Flightsy. Good old Flightsy. He took a little break from giving us lists, and he's back with a vengeance for our season 1 finale. So it's important that it goes up for this episode. Okay, so we're gonna guess what his theme is based on our clue, which is RetroLogic season 1. So I'm gonna guess Sega Saturn games, all Sega Saturn.
I guess these are all games that have been featured in Price is Retro before.
He would know. He's building our database.
Neo Geo.
Yeah, all Neo Geo. All right, so here we go. Game 1. Plok for the SNES, complete in box. Gotcha Force for the GameCube, complete in box. Oh, he's getting us right now. He's getting us. He's reading our mail. Ogre Battle 64, Person of Lordly Caliber for N64, complete in box. Complete in box, okay. Odama microphone bundle for the GameCube, complete in box. NHL 94 SNES,
Yes.
complete in box. Nice. Sega Saturn console. Console complete in box. Man, okay. Luigi's Mansion 3 for the Switch, complete in box. Hoo-eesh. Okay, let's get some calculation going.
I'm gonna
here.
have to write this down.
You want me to list them off again?
Yeah, rapid fire.
This is a massive. All right, Plok for the SNES, complete in box. Gotcha Force, complete in box. Ogre Battle 64, complete in box. Odama microphone bundle, complete in box. NHL 94, complete in box. Sega Saturn console, complete in box. And Luigi's Mansion 3, complete in box. 4, 5. Okay. Sam, why don't you guess first?
Oh, great. I get to go first. $1,350.
Okay. I guess $900. John?
Hold on, I need to add mine up. You said 900, Dan?
I said 900, yeah. John's double duty with the spreadsheet.
That's when he says $8.99.
I know, yeah. 901.
Give me 1 second, real quick.
Russell, you have a number?
Let's just throw out 1,000. Do 1,000 even.
1,000 even.
I have no idea on
Split
these.
the difference. That's why I made you go last, so you could have a bearing on.
I wasn't going to go that high. I know the Saturn's probably worth a lot. I have no idea on the other ones.
Okay, so
one of these is worth more than the Saturn.
Russ is going 1,000.
Yep.
And I'm going 1,355.
All right, we have the numbers locked in. Okay, the total is 1,187. 1187. Wow. Okay, we were all in the ballpark. I'm impressed with us right now. So let's see what we got here. RetroLogic mascot, which is Plok, $77. Dan's game, which is Gotcha Force, $484. John's game, which is Ogre Battle 64, $288. Sam's game, which is Odama, only $25 for the complete. Oof. You need to find one of those.
Cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap game still. Until we do Odama Rama, then it goes up. Chris's game, which is NHL 94 complete in box, that is $23. The Bane of Price's Retro, he knows. How does he know? Sega Saturn console is $252. And then his own running gag, which is Luigi's Mansion, $35. Again, the total $1187. Flightsy. He also wrote us a book, so I'm going to read that real quick. Okay, here we go. I know this is a long theme explanation, but I would appreciate it if you'd still read the whole thing. You got it, bud. You got that, Fleicy. We're going to read it right now. I hope you liked my commemorative list for the first season of RetroLogic. I'm not sure if I'll have enough new material to make a RetroLogic Season 2 and beyond theme list, but I certainly would like to. Some honorable mentions are Super Mario Bros. 3 for winning Game of the Year 30 years ago, and a Wavebird for being my introduction to the community. He won a Wavebird from me on Twitter, and he became a super fan. So that's how people become fans of me. I just give them stuff, apparently. For the items that did make it on the list, Plok is the unofficial, or maybe it is the official, mascot of RetroLogic Discord. It is an oft-forgotten game for the SNES that has some questionable design, but is also really creative. It represents the kind of game RetroLogic values, and I don't remember who started it, but I believe Plok started to gain popularity after someone made the Plonks, quote-unquote, Stocks Plok meme, the Stonks meme, but with Plok in it. Eventually, there was an entire Plok Talk podcast in April, and of course, there's an upcoming Ploktober event. I might include Plok in every season finale list because it's the Discord mascot, and to see how much we've driven up the price each year. Next, we have the game from each host. Gotcha Force was Dan's, White Whale, until he got it for his birthday, from John and my brother. Before he got it, Dan expressed his longing for it on the podcast. Ogre Battle 64 is one of John's favorite games from his childhood, and he talks about it fairly often on the show. Odama is Sam's game, which is also brought up a lot on the podcast. Sam hopes it will eventually become the new Plok. That's not untrue. NHL 94 isn't connected to the host, but it is the favorite of a fairly prominent member of the community, Chris HL 94, and I was unsure about including it because I didn't have any other prominent community member games. I was worried I'd be biased because I played Joe and Mac 2 with Chris, but I still felt the game came up enough on the podcast to justify it on the list. Okay. The Sega Saturn is on there because Saturn games used to be infamous for being hard on the podcast. I believe this happened mostly in episodes 17 and 22 through 26. Finally, Luigi's Mansion 3. This is a continuation of the running gag I started with my two last Prices Retro lists, where I ended the list with somewhat unexpected Luigi's Mansion game. Its appearance there is supposed to represent all my Prices Retro shenanigans, which I don't really have a central game to them. I hope I'm not overstepping my bounds. I haven't even been a guest on this podcast, but I wanted to include an homage to what I have brought to the podcast, even if it's small. This is the most I've ever been active in a Discord, and I thank you all for having me. Now a toast to Season 2 and beyond. Love, Flightsy. I added the love there, but I know he loves us. Flightsy, we have to have you on the show soon. We just got to pick the right game and the right time, and we'll have you on for sure. Oh boy, he certainly outdid himself with that one. Love you, Flightsy. Thank you for always giving us fun stuff to talk about. So that's how we play Prices Retro. Let's jump into our weekly topics. We've only got a couple of them, and
you want to know who won?
We've got some big ones. I always forget who won. Who did win, John?
You've been out of it for too long, man.
I know. Well, there's just a lot to talk about this week.
You went from being like right there to going to last place. You were at 990. I was right under you at 980 because somehow our guesses were all, even though we were really far off, we got back together.
Crazy.
And then our guess was at 784. And then Sam just barely edged him out at 769. So
Sam!
Wow.
Oh,
he almost had a second guest win.
Almost.
That helps not knowing anything whatsoever about some of those games.
Yeah.
Honestly, it does help sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes we overthink it and we just overdo it.
For real.
Was it
Congrats,
the
Sam.
first time I won when I just guessed 300 on every lot?
That was the first time you won. Yeah.
Was it? Well, we'll find out soon enough when Flightsy's.
I think it might have been the second time.
Or maybe it was the second time. It was pretty early though.
Amazing. All right, weekly topics. So, I'm going to skip this day in gaming history unless you guys are dying to talk about Dragon Warrior 1 and 2 on the Game Boy Color, which I assume you're not. So, we're going to talk about the big news this week was the Nintendo Direct. And we're not going to go over everything. We're not going to go over most of it. We're just going to hit some highlights for us. Some news that you probably already know about, but we're just going to chat about it a little bit. The Castlevania Advance Collection out now for $19.99, which includes Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, Aria of Sorrow, and a little surprise in there of these. I believe it's the Super Nintendo port of Dracula X, which is fine, but not the best version of that game, so I've heard.
Right. It does include the Japanese and English versions, but this does not include Rondo of Blood, which is the TurboGrafx game, which was ported as Dracula X for Super Nintendo.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Good to know. We also have ActRaiser Renaissance, which we talked about earlier. It is a kind of a remaster plus new content of the original ActRaiser, which nobody saw coming. $29.99 out now. Knights of the Old Republic out November 11th for the Nintendo Switch. Looking forward to that guy. And then the big kahuna of news we got is the addition of N64 games and Sega Genesis games coming to Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack, which is going to cost more, which is interesting. That's coming late October. And I'm just going to rattle off the games here. Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, Ocarina of Time, Winback, Mario Tennis, Yoshi's Story, Dr. Mario 64, Sin and Punishment, and additional games announced for the future. We have Majora's Mask, Banjo-Kazooie, Mario Golf, Kirby 64, Pokemon Snap, and then I'm jealous of Japan, who's getting Custom Robo and Custom Robo V2. So that's a thing.
You can still play.
I will point out, just like with the Super Famicom app, I assume you'll be able to download it if you make an alternate profile and set your region to Japan.
Do you have to pay?
You won't be able to read it.
Do you have to pay twice for your membership?
No, because all the profiles on your Switch are connected to your Nintendo account.
Cool.
So, like, I have done this before. You can play, Metroid, the Disk System version that has the better sound. If you do that way, you can download the Famicom app instead of the
Or you
NES.
could buy a Famicom Disk System and play Metroid.
Yeah,
You could.
You could be like John and do that.
But not on your Switch.
And then, like, the biggest surprise nobody saw coming was Sega Genesis games coming to NSO, which is cool. But we already have the Genesis collection. Some of these games are not on that collection, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that diminishes quite a bit of my excitement, is that most of these games were actually already on Switch, either from the Genesis collection,
it's a little weird,
the Castlevania collection,
kind of
Bloodlines, or the Contra collection has hardcore.
I'm kind of
so
disappointed
I believe
that we
the
got
only
this
ones that
before
are
Game Boy.
Yeah. I think the only ones that are new to Switch, unless I'm mistaken, are Strider and Musha.
I think
the arcade version might be available.
I think Strider is on the. Maybe not. Not really sure.
It's on the Genesis collection.
There's an arcade archives version though.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Let me list these games off that they announced: Castlevania Bloodlines, Contra Hardcore, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Echo the Dolphin, Golden Axe, Gunstar Heroes, Musha, Phantasy Star 4, Rystar, Shining Force, Shinobi 3, Sonic 2, Streets of Rage, Strider. And we are getting an N64 controller and a Sega Genesis controller. They announced $49.99. Weren't the Super Nintendo controllers $29.99?
$30, yeah.
So why is the Sega Genesis controller? Maybe they just
weren't the NES controllers $49.99
but
for
those
two?
for a pair.
No,
right.
it was $60.
Yeah.
It was $59.99.
Oh, $60. Okay.
Yeah. But I'm just confused. Like the N64 controller for 50, like
that sounds right. The Sega Genesis one kind of doesn't make sense to me.
So maybe that's
there are cheaper solutions that have Bluetooth adapters that you could probably plug into a Switch dock.
Totally. So that's a little weird.
You could do 8-bit though for sure.
I'm just glad that we're going to be able to do N64 games for Retro Rewind now. That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, I'm excited about a wireless N64 controller that's not a piece of junk.
The biggest question in my mind is, what is that control stick going to be like? All the pictures of it, it looks like your janky old N64 stick, but there's no way they're doing the exact same thing.
I think they are.
And there's no way.
Why wouldn't they?
They have to bolster it somehow.
No, they're just going to make you buy another one.
Oh, brother.
No, that's $50
on purpose.
No, they're updating it somehow.
I don't think
I bet they'll update it.
They have to
be smoother. Yeah.
When does Nintendo ever went back? I mean, we got the same exact NES controller. It's probably the same molds, like the same blanks.
I know, but those controllers didn't have any problems like the N64 stick does. It's still like half of my controllers are all janky. I'm telling you, I'm not accepting your opinion. They updated it 100%. They updated it. I want to know how. I'm not asking if.
Again, according to Marty, we all played our N64s wrong because he never had one break. But
whatever, Marty. That's because you never played Diddy Kong.
I never had one break, but I definitely got palm blisters on Mario Party.
I had them to where like the joystick would just sit to one side. Like that's how it wore out. I would make them over time.
That's how some of mine are. I have some that are like pretty great, but
I don't think Nintendo's going to change the design because I don't think they anticipate anybody actually playing these games for any amount of real time.
No, not the design, but like the materials and the structure will be stronger because you can you can spend $100 and buy a new whole like stick like module for your old N64 controllers. They're called steel sticks and they last forever and they're amazing, but they're really expensive. So maybe Nintendo did something like that. I don't know. I'm just saying they updated it.
And I think like $50 is pretty close to how much the original N64 controller cost.
Yep.
Like maybe. Back in the 90s. So like I don't think we're going to get a major update on this thing. I think
that's about how much they cost now in box.
Throw it out there.
To get an old one.
Oh, a new box one's probably like $100 now.
No. No way. I doubt it.
Price chart it.
Okay, let's do it. Price charting, N64 controller. Did they do controllers?
Yeah, they did controllers in a box.
Let's see. Bro, this is... Okay, blue controller, CIB 57. So, there it is. Speaking of breaking things, let's take a break really quick. When we come back, we'll talk about Knights of the Old Republic with Russell. Finally, he gets to talk. Back. Thank you for sticking with us. Russell, you chose this game. You chose to come on the show, talk about Knights of the Old Republic. I have some pretty limited experience with it. Sam, what's your experience with KOTOR, briefly?
I've played through it at least 3 times.
Oh, shoot.
One of which being last year.
Okay, good. John, what about you?
My experience is probably similar to yours. I didn't play this game originally. I think I did play a little bit. My cousin had a copy on Xbox that I probably played here and there, but I haven't completed the game.
Okay. Awesome.
I plan to now when it comes out again.
Yeah, good deal. Well, then for people like you and me, John, I'm just going to give like a really brief little rundown of what it is. Hopefully this will get your appetite ready for it because we've got the remaster coming out pretty soon. When's the remaster slated for? Does anybody know?
For Switch?
No, I don't think
you mean the remake.
Or are you talking about the remake?
The remake. Sorry, my bad. Yeah.
They have not announced a release date.
No release date. Okay.
So
and we have a November release date for just the old version coming out on Switch.
Just the old one.
Just the old one, which is still fun to play and a good deal.
For me, the problem with this game was it came out when I was still playing Diablo 2, which you couldn't peel me away from long enough to play anything real.
That'll do it. But so Knights of the Old Republic originally launched on Xbox and PC July 9th, 2003. And it sold, July 15th. Sold 250,000 copies in its first 4 days, which at the time was the fastest selling Xbox game to date, to that date, which is pretty cool. It is an RPG based on a comic book series, Star Wars comic book series by Dark Horse, I believe. And the game system is based on Wizard of the Coast Star Wars role-playing game, which is based on D20 role-playing game system derived from the early Dungeons and Dragons rules, which I didn't know. I thought that was pretty cool. It had a connection to D&D like that. And there's a lot of like, Russell, you can go and you can elaborate on this, but just to kind of give an overview of the game, there's a lot of like choice and like consequences in this.
Oh yeah,
right. Like it's all based on choice and consequences, light side, dark side.
So this was BioWare, I feel, at its height. Mass Effect in there as well, Jade Empire, but they were known for bringing these games, even before Knights of the Old Republic, some of their older games, of bringing the choice system. But Star Wars, I think, is like the perfect game for choice system because this game lets you choose. Do you want to be dark side or light side, and like fully let you explore each branch. Of course, the dark side has some of the best combat abilities and fighting styles and force powers that you could use. So that it kind of became hard of like, do I really want to be a good guy or do I want to be a bad guy? But the choices were great. They gave you a lot of different options. And then, of course, the way that the game ends, all based on whether you choose the dark side or light side path, is just a really cool way of going about it. And Star Wars definitely hit it really well, and BioWare did such an amazing job doing that at such an early age for at least console gaming. There wasn't a ton of console games that had those choices that I remember.
Yeah, not till like Fable, which came out later, but even that was pretty limited. How did they get away with that kind of a, because it's different because it's Star Wars and because the light side and the dark side are so drastic in their storytelling and their path in their training. How did they get away with basically kind of like, was it essentially like two stories, or are you following the same story? And how did they keep you within the story, even though you could like basically choose which side of the team you're on?
So my question is, do we want, are we allowed to talk spoilers on this, or, are we allowed to deep dive into the lore? Because I think the story itself does a great job of creating a story that going light side or dark side doesn't make that huge of a difference, but then it does. Just because it's kind of the plot twist in the whole game. Let's
keep it relatively spoiler free.
Okay. So there is a plot twist. But you can talk
in generalities and get the gist of it.
There's a plot twist to the story that kind of brings about, I guess, the explanation of what's happening in the game, and it does a really good job of whether you do light side or dark side. You kind of take over. It's the usual. I mean, this isn't spoilers, but I mean, obviously, if light side, you're going to be trying to fight the Sith and bring back the Jedi and that type of thing. I mean, it's what Star Wars is. That's the whole premise of the Star Wars universe. / dark side, you obviously become, a bad person, trying to go over the galaxy, all that. But best way is it all kind of goes to the same ending with just like two minor changes of whether or not you're now on the Jedi side, good wins, beats evil, the galaxy's safe once again, or you take the evil path and now you're trying to become the head of the Sith and taking over the galaxy sort of thing. So
Suffice it to say, the main antagonist, either you're trying to stop him and save the galaxy, or you usurp him and roll the galaxy in his place.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, so you're going after Darth Malak, who is the Sith Lord, who's just kind of taken over the Sith title in the game, and so you're going after him the whole game, and then depending on which side you pick, it's whether or not you're destroying him because he's evil, or you're destroying him because you want to take over as leader of the Sith.
That's so great. They're so smart with that. So now this takes place. This came out after Episode 1 came out, which is kind of like our first look from like a cinematic perspective at pre-Skywalker, pre-Luke Star Wars. But Knights of the Republic takes place even earlier than that. Isn't it something like 200, 400 years prior to Episode 1?
Yeah, it takes place way before the movies take place, which I think was a great idea because you are so disconnected from the main.
Yeah, it's unexplored at that point.
So they can do whatever they want. And they don't have to tie it in with, we have to mention Luke Skywalker, or we have to mention, these little things. Like, we can do our own story, and we can still bring back characters like species that people love. You've got there's
got your Wookiees in there.
Of course, you got your Wookiee. You got Wookiee companion in the game, who's really awesome. One of the best characters.
Mon Calamari.
You have all though. I mean, they bring the species back so people can say, "Oh, I know that species."
That guy. Yeah.
Oh, that's like that guy.
Star Wars is nothing if not its nods to everything else it's ever done.
Oh, absolutely. You have to be. I mean, when you build that much lore, I mean, you might as well use some of it. But yeah, it does such a great job because of the fact that it's set so far before. I think BioWare was really smart in that. People really loved the story. They thought it was a great separate story that had nothing to do with the Skywalker branch, which I think is what a lot of people are wanting in Star Wars now is, can we discover more of the other stories going on than just follow, this one lineage throughout time? There has to be some more interesting stuff. And I think that was why it really hit home and did such a great job of storytelling and kind of telling a completely different story with all the things that people love, i.e. the Jedi and all that stuff.
One of the things that I was reading as I was doing my little mini deep dive into KOTOR to prepare is that it's the only piece of expanded universe that is still producing new content, quote unquote new content, where once Disney took over, they kind of said, okay, this is all stuff that we're not doing expanded universe anymore. It's not part of the series. And they kind of labeled KOTOR as Legends now, which is is it lore? Is it not? It's something else. So they're sort of allowing it to be there, probably due to the fact that the fan base is so massive and into what KOTOR has to offer.
They've been dropping some references to it all the time. Even because correct me if I'm wrong, did KOTOR initiate the Jedi Code? The actual words of it? Because they kind of reformatted that now to where it's a little shorter.
Yeah, I definitely think they took some of that. You see that a lot in the new lore, the Disney lore, where they put things into legend and that's just side stories. They're pulling little tiny bits and pieces slowly back in the way that they want to. And there's been a lot of references, not just that, but I was even reading up on some of the newer stuff.
The Mandalorian. It's basically a quest from KOTOR.
Yep, exactly.
You team up with the same people to hunt a crate dragon.
Nice.
Yeah. The really, really top Sith Lord that died in the beginning of the very first game. So not spoilers in that, but Darth Revan, there was a small mention in him. I can't remember where it was. I was reading today and they said that it was mentioned somewhere and people were freaking out. On top of that, the card game in the game, which is absolutely wonderful. Pazak, if you pronounce it right. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Good luck pronouncing anything in the Star Wars.
Well, they actually show it in the new trilogy. Somebody's playing at one of the cantinas.
Oh, that's cool.
So they brought the card game in, and I was reading up on how that was a really cool nod to it. So it's still canon. The card game is now, and it looks like from the sound of it, the rumors are that they are going to be trying to make a Knights of the Old Republic movie series based on kind of the lore and what's going on with the games, which I think is a great idea because there's a lot to explore on that side. And I think people would have more artistic freedom doing that than, you know, again, trying to continue what we already know and potentially ruin it for some. And, you know, others, it's like start fresh, go way back, don't connect it, and let's just, you know, do the same thing that BioWare did when they made the game, but for the movies. So I'm excited for that potential and really hope that they do that. It's part of the reason why I freaked out so much when they announced the remake of it. I think this game, story-wise, is unbelievable for Star Wars and for anybody who's a fan of Star Wars. And unfortunately, the hard part is going back to play it. It is a little rough around the edges. The gameplay is, I think, a little bit dated from the combat system it had, and so I think if they can.
What's the combat system?
So it's the best way I can describe it is it's kind of turn-based, but the actual definition is there's like rounds that are going on in the background. You can't really see it, so your person's attacking constantly. The other person's attacking you back. And then it's like you said, the D&D portion of it, there's dice rolls that are happening behind the scenes through the AI that determines what kind of.
It unfolds in real time, but with pause, and you're basically queuing actions that will then take place one after the other.
They
almost like almost like
you can pause.
You can pause whenever you want if you just want to think.
So like MMO kind of.
I was gonna say it sounds similar. Like
MMOs don't pause because you're connected to other people.
No, but I mean, like selecting an action to see the action take place.
I would say that. Yeah, that it did remind me of that at that time. You know, of World of Warcraft, of just queuing up the attacks and you just seeing your guys, you know, doing their movements. And
is it like Xenoblade, Sam?
A little bit. Without any of the timing or positioning elements, really.
Okay.
Yeah, and the pausing helps you because you do get 2 companions for each battle that you get to be a part of. So, and just like most BioWare games, I mean, again, they moved on to this later on with Mass Effect more, and some of that is, you know, you get a couple companions, you get to be able to tell your companions what to do attack-wise. The pausing was really good for that because it allowed you to go from companion to companion and kind of set them up to do exactly what you wanted. But
that's sounding like Dungeon Siege now. You ever play Dungeon Siege?
No, I have not.
Sam, Dungeon Siege?
Nope.
None of y'all played freaking Dungeon Siege? What are we doing here? It sounds like Dungeon
On the next episode, Dungeon Siege.
Get somebody in here who plays Dungeon Siege, for crying out loud. No, that sounds like Dungeon Siege, where you have your party and you can kind of either give them commands or you can set them to do like automatic things, and your actions are all like based on like you say a command and you tell it where to go, and then it kind of does the thing. It's not like one-to-one. It's kind of like what you're saying. So that sounds like Dungeon Siege. Okay, cool.
I hope with the remake, that's one thing, again, just because the battle system I think is a little bit dated. If they could do something, I mean, honestly, we have a great example of what a good remake of a classic RPG looks like in Final Fantasy VII Remake.
You want them to go that far with it?
I mean, it would be really cool to see some of that action with the lightsabers and stuff. Because, you know, I think that's the only thing is it's, you know, that the battles aren't as epic as they could be. I mean, for the time it was, like when I was in the moment playing that game on my Xbox, I was like, this is amazing. Like, look, we're having lightsaber fights and, you know, all that stuff. And now you go back and you're like, kind of rough around the edges. I just thought, you know, when I picked up Final Fantasy Remake and went from, you know, the turn-based strategy of the old PlayStation 1 RPGs to this more action-based kind of, you know, high-flying, really like big set piece type thing because of the graphics and things you could do, that I almost want them to move that direction. I don't want them to change too much of the story. I'm worried about what they're going to do writing-wise because they have hired actual new writers. So that makes me think they're going to make some changes to the remake, which again, I'm like, don't. That's the one thing that this game is absolutely perfect in. Like, it does not need rewrites. One of the best characters, I think, in all of Star Wars is in Knights of the Old Republic, and that's your droid companion, HK-47. Which an interesting fact, when I was researching the game, how they came up with the name, HK was, I think, if I remember right, and I have to look it up again, is like the initials for one of the head writers, like D&D group or something. It's like him and a friend that used to partner up.
Nice.
So they were called the HK. And then he wanted to make it sound like an AK-47, so he did HK-47 for the droid.
I was gonna say it sounds like AK-47. What's happening?
The droid is amazing in it. It's hilarious. It calls all the humans meat bags and just makes fun of them and hates humans so much. And just talks very poorly to you as a character, and everyone keeps him around, and he just wants to murder everything around him. And it's just it's hilarious to have that aspect of it. I think that's part of where we got in like Rogue One, the droid sidekick in that one kind of became the comedy relief, and how they acted.
Yeah.
KOTOR really hit that first and how they did that. And so, you know, even if you just want to play just for that aspect, getting to play with HK-47 is a lot of fun, and it's really, really entertaining.
And it says a lot that a droid is one of my favorite characters in this game, because I usually hate droids in Star Wars.
Yeah. It has a personality for once, you know, as a droid versus just, you know, being weird comic timing or whatnot. It's just really hilarious.
So, like, speaking of Rogue One, that just shows like how strong of a presence a Star Wars movie can have without being completely tied to the Skywalkers. Because I mean, there's really not. I mean, the events are taking place at the same time, but they don't involve any part of that story. Like, it's its own story beat from inside of it.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, it's got Vader at the end, but like for like a few seconds.
An amazing few seconds.
Close it off. Well, yeah. I mean, not to take away from that, but I'm saying that's literally the only part of it that brings that in. But the building up of the whole movie is what makes it so awesome the whole time. So they could totally do it and it be just fine without any of that.
And I think The Mandalorian's somewhat proven that as well. I mean, right now the best Star Wars stuff is all the stuff not like directly tied to the original saga. Like we don't need to be handheld anymore. We're old enough now. I mean, most Star Wars fans are at the age where let's delve into some new stuff and go a little bit deeper than just, you know, the surface level stuff that worked when we were kids.
So we've got the Switch version coming out, which is a straight port, I imagine.
Yeah,
right?
It's the mobile port from what I got. Okay. So what you get on the iPhone, iPad, Android is probably what they're bringing over to the Switch, which makes sense because of the, you know, infrastructure of the Switch and what it's able to do.
Okay. And all we have for the remake is a remake.
Yeah.
All we have for the remake is an announcement. No date, no consoles, no. Okay.
Nothing.
Hardly any details.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a little bit.
Is it still BioWare?
No, it's Aspire. So they're the ones doing the Switch port. They've been doing ports of Star Wars games recently. So they did a Jedi, what was it, Jedi Knight
Outcast
Academy game? Yeah, that they just re-released on PlayStation.
And all those.
Episode 1 Racer too.
Yeah, I think they were part of that too. So they've been in charge of doing those. This is the first time though they're doing, because they talked about it, they hired a ton of people. They hired a ton of old BioWare people. They made a point of that. So they did go after some old BioWare people to bring them onto the team.
That's reassuring. That sounds good.
It helps. It definitely helps.
Yeah.
But this is going to be like their first big project that they do from the ground up rather than just being a port studio. So it'll be interesting to see how they do on it. Like I said, I went absolutely nuts when they announced that. It was probably my biggest thing from that day when they had the PlayStation Showcase a couple weeks back. Because I think this is just, like I said, one of the games that a remake is absolutely smart. You know, Final Fantasy VII was another one that made sense to remake. This one, you know, definitely made sense to remake in modern times.
So knowing that changes are coming to the remake, would you prefer just having a new game?
I feel like this could be their test waters of that, is like remake it, see how it goes really well, and see, you know, if people really, really want that, even though I think people really want that. I would have loved Knights of the Old Republic 3, but I think at this point we're so far beyond the first
disconnected from them. Yeah.
You want to get new fans into it, younger fans into it. So I think remaking it.
Yeah.
As I say, what you do is you bring it on, and you just market the crap out of it, put out all these little side videos.
Yeah.
Do what Metroid's doing. because everyone's going to be super disconnected from those games as well.
Right,
Well,
totally.
I mean, I think ultimately what people want is just a game like this that's just as good as this. Because as far as the actual story, that was continued in the MMO. I don't necessarily think they need to rehash that into a single player game. I don't think anybody really wants that.
Yeah, it's interesting So my question for you, Russell, and for Sam, since he's well versed, is do I play the Switch port? Do I wait for the remake, or do I just do both?
I think you definitely play the Switch port.
Okay, it's still worth going into.
It is. And, you know, with you guys being all into retro games, you guys can, and I talk to my friends that way. It's like, you know, how much do you play older games and enjoy them, and how much can you not do that? Because I have obviously friends that are like, I can't go back and do that. I mean, it feels so outdated. You know, that's kind of the problem I think the KOTOR has for some newer people to the series. It's like, how much do you care about it in order to play older version of this game? But if you're fine with the kind of outdated control scheme to it and just the way it looks, and just can enjoy it for what it is, which is a really great Star Wars story, and just kind of a cool way of going with the light side and the dark side, absolutely pick up the Switch, especially being able to take it on the go. I mean, I remember when it released for the Mac, I got it from my laptop when I was in college, and I mean, I was taking that thing to class and playing in class and playing on the go as much as I could, whether it was in, you know, at lunch or in the library. So being able to play it on my Switch on the go, like, I am absolutely downloading that. I am absolutely going to be playing that on the go. I have a big trip coming up to Europe in November, so I know what's going to be loaded on my Switch is absolutely going to be KOTOR, and I will probably play through the whole game again.
And we've probably got at least 2 years before a launch for the remake, I would imagine.
That's highly possible.
Considering
how little they actually showed.
Right. So we've got about a
play
20...
one side on the Switch and then play the other side on the remake.
Just stop, John. We've got a 28 hours to beat the story, 36 to do story and extras, and then to buy it on Xbox, $15 for the complete in box copy. So that seems like something that I'm probably going to do.
How much is the Switch version?
Oh,
have they announced that price?
Did they announce a pre-order for it?
Let's see.
It's $15. I'm in.
That's
easy buy.
Is it 15? Oh, you didn't see it. Let's see.
No, what's the other stuff has been around that price, hasn't it, Sam?
15, 20, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
it seems about right. I've never seen that game released.
$14.99.
You found it?
Nintendo.com says $14.99.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
Yeah, so whether you buy it on Xbox or the Switch, it's $15.
I mean, it's been on Steam. That's where I bought it recently. I will say they did a better job bringing KOTOR 2 up to date. KOTOR 2 has like workshop support and all that. KOTOR 1 is like the aspect ratio on it's super screwy. You have to jump through some hoops just to get it to look okay.
Well, I'll probably pick it up on Xbox, both of them, because they're cheap. And I mean, most Xbox games are right now, and I'm starting to bolster my Xbox collection. So,
yeah, and definitely don't sleep on the second one. You know, it wasn't BioWare that did it. It was Obsidian, which of course, Obsidian. Yeah, they went on to Fallout New Vegas, and now they're back under the Xbox and Microsoft umbrella with Bethesda again. So people were like clamoring for that. They're like, give Obsidian KOTOR, 3 or KOTOR 4 or whatever, but they did a great job on the second one. The only complaint I had is I felt it was shorter. It
was famously rushed. You had to make a holiday release date, and it wasn't ready. And it came out a year after the first one.
Yeah, that's crazy.
An RPG came out the next Christmas after the first one. I was shocked because, I got my Xbox at Christmas. I went to GameStop doing the whole buy two get one free deal that they always have at Christmas for used games. And I picked up KOTOR 1, I picked up Crimson Skies, and then like 2 weeks later, so I'm playing through KOTOR, I find out through the grapevine that KOTOR 2 is releasing, and I like freaked out because I was loving it so much. But it was definitely, it was a good update. There was a lot of good gameplay elements and things that they updated on it. Still the same ideas and things like that. Just definitely a little bit shorter. They had a lot less time to develop it. So,
well, I am certainly sold. I'll be picking that guy up. Russell, thank you so much for coming on the show, for talking some KOTOR with us, for teaching me. And man, now I'm as excited as you are. I'm ready.
Yeah, no, and I'm excited to hear what you think about it when you do pick it up and get to play it on the Switch. I hope it's a good port. We'll find out once it actually comes out. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm always excited when I can get people to try it out, especially Star Wars fans who never knew anything about it.
That's me. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and like I knew about it, but I didn't have the right console or whatever. And
yep, I get it. Yeah,
yep.
You're in for a treat, I think.
Cool, good deal. Awesome. Well, that is our game highlight for this week. And we're about to close it up. But before we do, I want to send you guys a quick reminder that October's Retro Rewind game is Demon's Crest. You don't have to spend $200 on it, though. You can go fire up your Switch and play it basically for free.
For $20.
And I did a little bit of a stream of this game earlier this year. And it is very good. Like, I didn't know what I was expecting, but it's like a really solid platformer with like a big RPG map and some really cool power-ups. And like, I wouldn't even call it a platformer because it's kind of like Kirby. You kind of just fly all over the map and do whatever you want. But it is pretty challenging. So I want to see how far you guys get. We're going to have our typical community live podcast later in the month. I'll announce details on that. Last but not least, Russell, I want to give you an opportunity to tell people where they can find you, what you're all about, and what you guys are doing over at the Crossfire Faith and Gaming deal.
Yeah, no. So you can find us. The easiest way is probably to go to our website, which there's 3 URLs, but the main one is crossfirecast.com. So it'll show you all of our Discord, just like you guys, Facebook group community, YouTube channel, Twitch channel. And then our podcast. We do a podcast bi-weekly. Nice. We talk about gaming news and things that interest us, and then we usually have some kind of faith topic or interview with other people. The one I would highlight for your viewers is we recently did an interview with a guy who was a senior AI developer for Gearbox, and he was in charge of Borderlands 3.
Nice.
And he also was the single-handed person that did Borderlands 3 for Stadia. He told us some things off air that I'm not allowed to repeat, but I'll give a little tidbit to your group. They don't like Stadia at all.
Oh man,
that's all I will say. It is not good things on the Stadia front behind the scenes when it comes to developers.
Too bad. I like Stadia, but that's
my co-host did for a long time, and then he finally jumped off the train. He got annoyed by it, but we have a podcast with him. He right now runs Aspire Games. So I would check that interview out.
Cool.
It's Andrew Bear. So it's a really fun interview, finding out some tidbits about Borderlands 3 and what he's working on now. He's actually currently working on the Perfect Dark Zero, the Perfect Dark remake that's coming out.
Oh, I'm really excited for that.
He's also on the team doing that.
I'm also a bit of a Borderlands fanboy. If anybody listened to this podcast, as soon as you said Borderlands, you know that like my eyes lit up, and I was like, "What? Borderlands?"
Yeah, you'll have to listen. He gave us 2 Easter eggs he hid in the game. One of them has still not been found. So
wow.
If anybody wants to go and try and find them in the game, there's some fun little things that he got awesome. To add in the game himself.
Did he talk at all about what's it called? What's the new one called? Wonderlands?
Oh no, so he's not at Gearbox anymore. So he left after. Right. So he did Battleborn and then Borderlands 3, and then he left. He's now running his own contracting gaming AI company, and so that's why he's working on Perfect Dark now, and a couple others. He said he's working on like 4 or 5 games that he can't even talk about. So we told him we'd have him back on once he could talk about
man.
them.
That's awesome. I'll definitely have to listen to that.
Yep,
good stuff.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Russell. Thanks for coming on. We'll definitely have to have you back because you are awesome. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good deal. Well, let's close this thing out then. Thanks for listening to the RetroLogic podcast. We are proudly part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. If you like what you hear, you can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at RetroLogic Games. You're also welcome to jump into our friendly and 100% non-toxic Discord community. The links to that are in my Twitter bio. And you can find all the RetroLogic things, the Game Store, Twitter, Discord. We have a music history podcast called Retro Groove, which my brother runs, which I'm quite a fan of. We have a Spotify playlist on there that matches each episode. Pretty nifty. That is on the website, and that URL is retrologic.games. So, thank you for listening. Thank you, Russell. Thank you, John. Thank you, Sam. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye now.